Well, just before we continue with the Davos program, let's move now to Europe, where shares were mixed in morning trade as investors monitor the U.S. government shutdown and political developments in Germany. Let's get the market update from my colleague in Frankfurt, Ulrich Bartz. Hello, Ulrich. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed your weekend.
Thank you. I did. Thank you. I hope you did too.
Right, I did. Politics seem to have taken the center stage this Monday in Germany, with progress made towards forming the next coalition government. Meantime, the U.S. government looks set to remain closed for the third day of a shutdown over disputed spending bill. How are these political developments playing out at the marketplace right now?
I think the people are looking with very great interest at how the German government is forming. The next step is going to be taken now after the Social Democrats and their party Congress voted yes. They will enter into coalition talks. And people here are a little bit blasé about it. They say, wow, you know, there's still steps ahead and it's not really affecting the market today. And one will have to have a government somehow, and there's not really any change to the situation before. But I think, judging by how people sounded on Friday before this decision, I talked to them then as well, they are looking very closely as the steps come further and closer. For example, the end of the coalition talks, or then when the talks have concluded and there should be a positive result, the Social Democrats, the party basis, has to decide again. And I think it will remain a very important aspect here for the markets. The shutdown in the United States, so far people are taking at their leisure, if you will. People are sure that there will be a resolution. There has been in past shutdowns, and it's not really had all that much of an effect on the economy. Now, what effect it does have, each time you have a shutdown and you have an agreement, you also have compromises, and I think people see critically the type of compromises that are made there politically and the kind of effect that it has on the United States debt. But so far, people are not really expecting negative results on the markets or on the U.S. economy or on other economies from that.
All right, thank you very much, Ulrich. I'm afraid I will have to let you go at this time. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about in the course of the week. Thank you very much for your time. And back to the Davos issues. I'm being joined by Mr. Bismarck Rewane, CEO of Financial Derivatives Company, to tell us what Nigeria's delegation out there in Davos, the relevance to the country. Good afternoon, Mr. Rewane. Thank you very much for joining us.
Good afternoon, Ezzy.
Hello, Mr. Rewane. Good afternoon.
I can hear you. Good afternoon, Chimezia. Yeah.
Well, the Vice President will be leading Nigeria's delegation to the World Economic Forum this year. Of what significance is this for Nigeria at a time the country is going through a phase in its economic development and, of course, preparing for election?
Very important and relevant because Nigeria at this point in time is looking for investor confidence, looking for investor flows. In our window, our stock market is going to record levels. And quite frankly, irrespective of the election time, there's a big conflict between globalization on one hand and protectionism on the other. So I think it's important that we make our presence felt and do the right at this point in time. So it's a good development, but we shouldn't put too much on it because it's not going to change everything at this point in time.
Well, we seem to be having some kind of technology issues with Bismarck's Skype there. We hope to get back to you as soon as possible. We're moving now. As the World Economic Forum kicks off, one of the issues that will be discussed by industry leaders, businessmen, politicians and CEOs is gender inequality. The Global Gender Gap report benchmarks 144 countries on their progress towards gender parity across 4 thematic dimensions: economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, and of course, political empowerment.
The 2017 report has ranked Egypt as 134th, joining countries like Yemen, Qatar, Lebanon and Kuwait at the bottom of the list. And for women like Abia Ragab, it's an uphill battle she's taking on. Standing amongst a group of men counting money and gathering commuters to her small van, she is a rare sight at Cairo's bus stops. Ragab is one of the few women who stood up to society's limitations on female occupations by pursuing a job that is widely considered as a man's job to help her deal with harsh living conditions due to increasing prices and a decrease in income.
Egypt is unfair to women. They judge her that as a woman, she cannot work in a man's occupation. She cannot gain rights in anything. Women are dealt with as a soft sex and are only limited to a few occupations here.
In contrast, Rwanda is setting an example for women power, landing fifth behind Iceland, Finland, Norway and Sweden in the 2017 gender gap list. At 86%, Rwanda has one of the highest rates of female labor force participation in the world, and the wage gap is narrower. Women in Rwanda earn 88 cents for every dollar men do. In the United States, it's just 74 cents.
The politics and the principle of inclusiveness and good governance looked at all the people in an equal way and give them equal footing to really work, trade, be educated, and that is what is making Rwanda special.
Rwanda Broadcasting Authority, a public broadcaster, is required by law to have a woman deputy director.
We have enough men, and we have many men capable, and we also have women who are capable. And it's not about being a woman or being a man, it's being able to perform. So we do have enough men, but the question is, are those men performing? Are those women performing? That's the aim when we are on our duties.
But Rwanda is aware that it still has a long way to go in its campaign to curb violence against women, with data released in 2013 by the country's gender desk showing that more than 90% of physical and psychological abuse was targeted at women. Human rights groups are also critical of the slow pace of bringing to justice genocide-era rapists.
Take a quick break, and when we return, we'll look at key issues around financial technology ecosystem in Africa.